The rain pounded against the window like an insistent drumbeat, each drop echoing the turmoil churning inside me as I stared at the glowing screen of our shared tablet. It was late, the kind of hour where the house felt too quiet, too empty, even with Sophie sleeping just down the hall. My fingers trembled slightly as I scrolled through the synced messages, the blue light casting harsh shadows across my face, illuminating words that sliced through my heart like cold blade. "Can't wait to see you again, my love," one read, from a number I didn't recognize. In that moment, the life I thought was solid began to crack, and I wondered how long I'd been blind to the fractures. What would you do if the person you trusted most turned out to be a stranger? That's the question I've been grappling with ever since that night. Hey everyone, my name's Alex, and I never thought I'd be sharing something this personal, but here I am. At 36, I'm a police officer in a mid-sized city, the kind of job that keeps me on irregular shifts, chasing down leads and trying to make the world a little safer. Sophie and I have been together for 14 years, married for 9, and we've built what I always believed was a rock-solid family. We have 2 amazing kids, Daniel, who's 8 and obsessed with soccer, and Mia, our 5-year-old bundle of energy who can light up any room with her giggles. Life felt good, stable, predictable. I was happy, confident that our bond was unbreakable, that providing for them and protecting them was enough to keep us strong. Sophie, my vibrant 34-year-old wife, is a marketing manager at a bustling ad firm downtown. She's always been charismatic, the type who draws people in with her easy laugh and sparkling eyes, thriving on social connections that I sometimes envy from my more solitary patrol days. Our marriage had its routines, sure, but they felt comforting, like the worn leather of my duty belt or the familiar scent of her lavender shampoo lingering in the bathroom after her showers. That evening, as I sat in our cozy living room, the air thick with the aroma of leftover pasta from dinner, I noticed how Sophie had been fiddling with her phone more than usual. She perched on the edge of the couch, her fingers dancing across the screen, a soft smile playing on her lips that didn't quite reach her eyes when she glanced up at me. The room was dimly lit by the floor lamp, casting a warm glow over the scattered toys on the rug. Daniel's soccer ball in the corner, Mia's stuffed bear slumped against the coffee table. Outside, the wind howled faintly, rattling the branches against the house, mirroring the unease settling in my gut. I told myself it was nothing, just work stress making her distant, but her quick tilt of the phone away from my view sent a flicker of doubt through me. Why the secrecy? I pushed it aside, focusing on the warmth of her hand when she finally set the device down and leaned against me, her hair brushing my shoulder like it always did. But as the night wore on, that doubt lingered, a quiet whisper in the back of my mind, hinting that something in our perfect picture was about to shatter. In this introductory section, Alex's initial emotional state of confidence and stability masks deeper vulnerabilities rooted in his attachment patterns. As a police officer accustomed to control and protection, his blind spot, believing financial provision suffices for marital strength, stems from a fear of emotional intimacy, possibly influenced by his demanding job. Sophie's subtle behaviors, like the secretive phone handling and evasive smiles, trigger Alex's intuitive alarms, but his denial mechanism kicks in as a coping strategy to preserve the illusion of security. This cognitive dissonance highlights how trust erodes not through overt acts but via micromoments, where body language and gestures reveal hidden motives. The sensory details, rain, dim light, lavender scent, amplify his internal conflict, making the unease palpable. Psychologically, this setup illustrates how humans rationalize red flags to avoid pain, setting the stage for escalating suspicion. Alex's motivations are driven by love and fear, while Sophie's charisma hints at her need for attention, born from loneliness in the marriage. This block effectively builds tension by contrasting expectations of harmony with the reality of subtle betrayal, fostering empathy for Alex's impending emotional awakening. The next few weeks blurred into a rhythm that felt familiar yet subtly off-key, like a favorite song played just a hair too slow. Mornings started with the sharp scent of brewing coffee filling our kitchen, the sizzle of eggs on the stove, and the kids' chatter echoing off the tiled floors. I'd wake to the alarm's insistent beep at 5 a.m., my body aching from a late-night shift patrolling the quiet streets, where the only sounds were distant sirens and the hum of my cruiser's engine. Sophie would already be up, her hair tied back in a messy ponytail, humming softly as she packed lunches: peanut butter sandwiches for Daniel, apple slices for Mia. "Morning, babe," she'd say, her voice warm but hurried, planting a quick kiss on my cheek that lingered a second less than it used to. I'd watch her move with that effortless grace, her sociable nature shining through in the way she juggled sippy cups and briefcases. But lately, her eyes seemed distant, focused on some invisible horizon. Our home was a modest two-story in the suburbs, with walls painted a soft beige that caught the morning light filtering through the blinds, casting long shadows across the breakfast table. Daniel would bound down the stairs, his sneakers thumping on the wood, demanding stories about my adventures at work, while Mia clung to my leg, her tiny hands sticky from yogurt. These moments grounded me, reminding me why I pushed through the exhaustion, for this family, this life we'd built. But cracks were appearing. Sophie started mentioning the gym more often, a new habit she claimed was for self-care, after long days at the office. "I need to blow off some steam," she'd explain with a bright smile, slipping into her yoga pants that hugged her figure in a way I hadn't seen since our early dating days. Her appearance was shifting too, new highlights in her hair, a subtle glow to her skin, as if she was rediscovering a part of herself I had thought was content. Evenings brought the first real hints of trouble. After tucking the kids in, their rooms filled with the soft glow of nightlights and the faint scent of baby shampoo, Sophie and I would settle on the couch for what used to be our unwind time. But now, her phone buzzed more frequently, and she'd angle it away, her fingers tapping rapidly before locking the screen with a click that seemed too deliberate. One night, as rain pattered against the roof again, I caught her smiling at a message, her cheeks flushing slightly under the lamp's warm light. "Work stuff?" I asked casually, my voice steady from years of interrogating suspects. She nodded too quickly, her eyes flickering to mine with a defensiveness I'd never seen before. "Yeah, just Laura venting about a client." Laura, her coworker, the one she'd been mentioning more lately. Girls' nights that ran late, leaving me with bedtime stories and the quiet hum of the dishwasher. I told myself it was nothing. My job had me seeing shadows everywhere. Paranoia came with the badge. But inside, a knot tightened. Her touches felt perfunctory, her laughs a beat delayed. The air in the house grew heavier, laced with unspoken questions. Marcus, my best friend from university who owned a small auto repair shop downtown, noticed it too when we grabbed beers one Friday. "You look beat, man," he said, clapping my shoulder with his grease-stained hand, the bar's neon lights reflecting in his glasses. "Everything okay at home?" I brushed it off, but his words lingered like the bitter aftertaste of my pint. Then came the night she said she was heading to a work party. "It's mandatory, team building," she explained, slipping on a dress that was a touch too elegant for office chit-chat, her perfume, a new, floral scent, wafting through the bedroom. I nodded, kissing her goodbye, but as her car pulled away, tires crunching on the gravel driveway, a chill settled in the room. Why hadn't she mentioned it sooner? And why did her phone, left charging on the nightstand, light up with a notification from an unknown number? "See you soon." Sophie's mistake in underestimating Alex's observational skills, honed by his police work, leads to the first cracks in her facade, teaching the lesson that small inconsistencies accumulate into undeniable doubt. By altering her routines without plausible explanations, she inadvertently fuels Alex's intuition, revealing how denial can blind one to the impact of their actions on a partner. Alex's error lies in rationalizing these signs as job-related paranoia, a coping mechanism that delays confrontation but prolongs emotional pain, highlighting the lesson that ignoring gut feelings erodes self-trust. The kid's innocent presence amplifies the stakes, showing how parental roles can mask marital issues, but ultimately, this block illustrates that early intervention might prevent escalation. Through these missteps, characters learn that transparency is the foundation of stability, and overlooking subtle shifts, like phone secrecy or appearance changes, can unravel even the strongest bonds. This phase underscores the importance of addressing unease promptly, transforming passive trust into active communication to avert deeper betrayal. Doubt festered like an untreated wound, subtle at first but increasingly impossible to ignore. Days turned into a haze of routines overshadowed by questions I couldn't voice. Mornings still started with coffee's bitter aroma and the kids' laughter, but now I watched Sophie more closely. Her quick glances at her phone during breakfast, the way she'd mute notifications with a flick of her thumb. One afternoon, as sunlight streamed through the kitchen window, warming the countertops, I noticed her wardrobe had evolved. Tighter blouses, new heels that clicked sharply on the hardwood floors. "Looking good," I commented once, trying to sound casual, but her response was a tight smile, her eyes avoiding mine as she adjusted her necklace, a simple gold chain I'd given her years ago, now seeming out of place against her renewed vibrancy. Work kept me busy, shifts stretching into the night with the scent of exhaust and rain-slicked streets, but home felt like a puzzle with missing pieces. Sophie's gym sessions extended later and later, her returns marked by flushed cheeks and the faint smell of sweat mixed with something else. Cologne? I rationalized it. She's stressed, marketing deadlines are brutal. But then came the emotional distance, like a fog rolling in. Dinners became quieter, she'd pick at her food, forks scraping the plate in rhythmic taps, her mind elsewhere. "Everything okay?" I'd ask, my voice low to not wake the kids upstairs, where Mia's soft snores filtered down through the vents. "Fine," she'd reply, but her body language screamed otherwise, shoulders tensed, fingers twisting her napkin into knots. Red herrings piled up, misleading me at every turn. One evening, I overheard her on the phone in the study, the door slightly ajar, light spilling out in a thin sliver. "Can't talk now," she whispered, her tone hushed and intimate. My heart raced, but when I entered, she claimed it was Laura planning a surprise for a colleague's birthday. Plausible, I thought, but why the secrecy? Another time, her phone bill showed unusual data spikes, which she blamed on streaming workouts. I wanted to believe her. Doubt felt like betraying our vows. Marcus sensed it during our weekly meetups at his shop, the air thick with oil and metal. "Talk to her, Alex," he urged, wiping his hands on a rag, his brow furrowed. "Don't let it eat you up." But fear held me back, fear of being wrong, of shattering our fragile peace. The kids unwittingly heightened the tension. Daniel, with his wide-eyed curiosity, mentioned, "Mommy's new friend at the gym is funny." During a soccer practice, the field muddy underfoot, the smell of fresh grass mingling with distant thunder. "What friend?" I probed gently, but he shrugged, kicking the ball. Mia drew pictures of Mommy exercising, but one showed a stick-figure man beside her, holding hands. Innocent? Maybe. But it gnawed at me, blending with Sophie's late nights and the way she'd lock her phone screen brighter than before. Insomnia set in, nights spent staring at the ceiling fan's slow whirl, the room cool and silent save for her even breathing beside me. My mind raced. Was it work? Or something worse? Then, a breakthrough, or so I thought. I found a receipt in her purse for a coffee shop downtown, timestamped during her gym time, but for 2 lattes. Confrontation loomed, but she explained it as meeting a client. Relief washed over me, warm like the steam from my shower, but doubt lingered, cold and persistent. Until the night I saw a flash on her phone. "Miss you already, E?" Who was he? The question burned, pushing me from suspicion to action. Here delineates the relationship's decline into distinct stages: initial denial, where Alex rationalizes changes, emerging awareness, marked by observing patterns like phone secrecy, and active doubt, fueled by red herrings and children's remarks. The point of no return arrives with the coffee receipt and mysterious message, shifting passive observation to impending investigation. After this, trust can't be fully restored without proof. Psychologically, Alex's hyper-awareness reflects attachment anxiety, while Sophie's defensiveness signals guilt avoidance. The kids' innocent inputs act as catalysts, heightening emotional stakes and illustrating how family dynamics amplify betrayal's impact. This progression shows how suspicion fragments love, turning everyday interactions into sources of pain, and underscores that once intuition overrides denial, reconciliation becomes improbable without radical honesty. The block captures the irreversible erosion of illusion, paving the way for confrontation. With that initial seared into my mind, I crossed a line I never thought I would. My police training kicked in: observe, document, verify. But this wasn't a case. It was my marriage. Mornings felt heavier now, the kitchen's fluorescent light harsh on my tired eyes as I sipped coffee, watching Sophie prepare for work. Her routine had shifted: earlier departures, later returns, always with the gym bag slung over her shoulder, its zipper whispering as she adjusted it. I started noting patterns: phone checks at odd hours, her screen's glow illuminating her face in the dark bedroom, the soft taps of typing punctuating the night. Moral dilemmas plagued me. Was I becoming the paranoid husband, invading privacy like suspects I arrested? Guilt twisted in my gut during quiet moments, like when Mia hugged me, her small body warm against mine, whispering, "Daddy, why are you sad?" I forced smiles, but inside, fear battled love. Red herrings kept misleading: a deleted browser history she claimed was clutter, unfamiliar routes on her car's GPS excused as shortcuts. One afternoon, sunlight dappling the living room through lace curtains, I checked her social media on our shared computer. Nothing overt, but likes on fitness posts from a gym page. Harmless? Perhaps. Then escalation. Marcus, over greasy burgers at his shop, the scent of fries mingling with engine oil, confessed he'd seen Sophie at a cafe with a man. Could be a client. He hedged, his eyes avoiding mine, but his hesitation revealed more. He was protecting me, or maybe her. That night, insomnia raging, I accessed our shared cloud storage, the laptop's fan humming softly in the dim study. Photos synced, innocent family shots, but one folder hidden, gym selfies, and in the background, a muscular man smiling too familiarly. Ethan, her trainer? My heart pounded, shallow breaths echoing in the silence. Subplots converged. Laura, Sophie's coworker, called unexpectedly, her voice tense over the phone's crackle. "Sophie's been distant. Everything okay?" she asked, but when pressed, she backpedaled, hinting at work stress. Was she covering? Meanwhile, financial secrecy emerged, a secondary twist. Bank statements showed unexplained withdrawals, small but consistent, for spa days that matched gym times. Was money involved? The chain reaction built, one lie exposing another. Psychological pressure tightened. Sleepless nights left me hyperaware, the creak of floorboards as Sophie snuck downstairs, the chill of sheets without her warmth. I tailed her once, my cruiser parked discreetly, heart racing as she entered the gym, but emerged hours later looking radiant. Doubt swung to anger, then guilt. A red herring, a text from me about class schedules, maybe just her trainer. But the brink came on a stormy evening, thunder rumbling outside. The shared tablet buzzed on the coffee table, forgotten. I swiped it open, synced messages flooded in, affectionate words, plans for meetups, photos of them together. Undeniable. The room spun, rain lashing the windows, as reality crashed down. Alex's fear and jealousy propel him into investigative actions, transforming passive doubt into proactive sleuthing, while guilt tempers his invasions, creating moral conflict. Sophie's hidden motives, seeking excitement, manifest in defensive behaviors, her guilt evident in evasions that fueled the chain reaction of lies. The emotional highs of temporary relief from red herrings contrast with lows of obsessive thinking, illustrating how betrayal triggers coping strategies like hypervigilance. Marcus's hesitation and Laura's call introduce interpersonal dynamics, where loyalty complicates truth-seeking, heightening Alex's isolation. This block connects internal turmoil to external pursuits, showing how anger restrains confrontation until proof overwhelms denial. Ultimately, emotions drive the narrative toward climax, revealing that unchecked feelings can both destroy illusions and forge clarity, emphasizing the psychological cost of deception. The tablet screen glowed accusingly in my hands, each message a dagger. "I love our stolen moments." From Ethan, with heart emojis and photos of them at a park, her head on his shoulder. Shock numbed me first, the room's air thick and cold, the distant hum of the fridge mocking the silence. Then rage simmered, mixed with heartbreak that made my chest ache. I paced the living room, floorboards creaking underfoot, the storm outside mirroring my turmoil, lightning flashes illuminating scattered toys, a reminder of what was at stake. I waited for her return, the clock ticking relentlessly, each second amplifying my dread. When the door clicked open around midnight, rain dripping from her coat, she froze at my expression. "Alex? What's wrong?" Her voice wavered, eyes wide, but her hands clutched her bag tighter, knuckles white. I held up the tablet, my voice steady despite the tremor. "Who is Ethan?" Denial came swift. "What?" "That's my trainer. Just workout tips." She stepped back, her wet shoes squeaking on the tile, face paling under the hallway light. But as I read aloud, "Can't stop thinking about last night," her defenses cracked. Pauses stretched, heavy with unspoken truths. "It's not what you think," she stammered, tears welling, but her body betrayed her, averted gaze, crossed arms like a shield. The confrontation unfolded in fragments, voices low to not wake the kids. "How long?" I demanded, my fist clenched, nails digging into palms. "A few months," she admitted finally, sinking onto the couch, the fabric rustling softly. "It started emotional. I felt lonely, Alex. Your shifts, the routine, it was a mistake." Blame shifted subtly, my long hours, our lost passion. But the twist stung, the affair was deeper, with plans for weekends away, hidden under work trips. Gaslighting flickered. "You're overreacting, it's not physical." Lies proven by photos. Tension peaked in silence, her sobs breaking the air, my anger cooling to detachment. Body language spoke volumes, her slumped shoulders, my rigid stance. No screams, just the stillness of shattered trust. "We need to talk about us," I said finally, the words hanging like fog. Through Sophie's initial denial and partial confession, her charismatic yet defensive personality exposes the depth of her guilt and need for attention, while Ethan's messages reveal him as a catalyst for her escapism. Alex's restrained confrontation, influenced by his protective nature, highlights his shift from shock to clarity, using police-honed composure to uncover truths. The children's absence amplifies stakes indirectly, as parental concern tempers rage. Laura's earlier call now seems like unintentional misleading, protecting Sophie out of friendship, adding layers of hidden alliances. Marcus's advice echoes unheeded, showing how external perspectives can illuminate blind spots. This block, viewed through reactions, deepens the conflict by illustrating overlapping secrets, financial hints intersecting with emotional betrayal, culminating in a collision of threads that reframes earlier events, emphasizing how characters' motives entwine to dismantle illusions and force moral reckonings. In the weeks following, the house felt like a ghost of itself, echoes of laughter replaced by tense silences, the air heavy with unspoken regrets. We attempted reconciliation, sessions with Dr. Hannah Reed, her office scented with chamomile tea, soft lighting casting calming shadows as we dissected our marriage. "Communication is key," she said gently, but Sophie's remorse clashed with my eroded trust. Temporary separation followed, me crashing at Marcus's spare room, the scent of motor oil a stark contrast to Holmes' lavender. Discussions turned practical, finances, where her secret withdrawals for dates emerged, adding financial betrayal, custody, prioritizing co-parenting for Daniel and Mia, who sensed the shift through hushed whispers and separate bedtime stories. External reactions varied. Marcus supported me fiercely. "You deserve better," over coffee at his shop, steam rising like my resolve. Family weighed in, my sister urging divorce, Sophie's parents pleading patience. Legal consultations in sterile offices, papers rustling, sealed our path. Sophie oscillated, tearful apologies, attempts to rebuild, but detachment grew. I set boundaries, separate bedrooms, no shared devices, symbolized by removing my ring, its absence a cold reminder on my finger. Empowerment came gradually. New routines, morning runs in crisp air, dew-kissed grass underfoot, hobbies like woodworking in the garage, sawdust, earthy smell grounding me, social outings with old friends, laughter echoing in bars. Therapy solo helped process grief, transforming hurt into strength. The kids adapted, Daniel's soccer games a neutral ground, Mia's hugs a balm. Nearly 30% of marriages face situations like this, and I was one of them. It taught me that stability isn't just provision, it's presence, vulnerability. Today, divorced but co-parenting respectfully, I stand taller, life mine again. The chapter closed, but in the quiet dawn light filtering through my new apartment's windows, coffee steaming in hand, I feel free, ready for whatever comes next. Summarizing the narrative arc, this story traces Alex's journey from blissful ignorance to empowered renewal, highlighting betrayal's psychological toll and the path to growth. The cumulative lessons emphasize that trust erodes through ignored signs, with denial as a barrier to truth. Sophie's charisma masked her loneliness-driven motives, while Alex's blind spot in equating provision with love amplified the devastation. Emotional responses evolved from shock and anger to reflective acceptance, showcasing coping strategies like investigation and therapy. Character growth shines in Alex's transformation, from passive provider to self-aware individual, embracing independence. The interwoven subplots, children's catalysts, friends' loyalties, financial secrets, create a chain reaction, culminating in a double-twist reframing of realities. Broader insights reveal human blindness to red flags, the ambiguity of forgiveness, and empowerment through boundaries. Ultimately, the tale offers catharsis, underscoring that while betrayal shatters, resilience rebuilds, leaving hope amid closure.